don't change. They come here, and all of a sudden they come face to face with the realization, what does it mean to follow the Lord? And you see them are just absolutely shocked of what kind of a demand the Lord has on people's lives, and they are shuddered. They just, so many of them just go to churches as if they go to a club, social club. The environment is good, it's nice, it's comfortable, all this, that, and the other, and all of a sudden they come to the reality of what it really means to follow the Lord, and they get the shock of their life. Yeah. So many times I see that, but it's a great privilege to really help people to really come out of their deluded, observation of what the gospel of the kingdom is really all about. To make a long story short, my father, my mother, when Israel became a nation, they picked up their 5 children who were born in Iran and moved to Israel. Now I was in my mother's belly. I was made in Iran but delivered. That's right, delivered by the Sea of Galilee. I grew up in the city called Kiryat Shmona, which is right next to the border of Lebanon. I don't know if you've been there, but we're not going to get into all that. My household, my family, my father, my mother, religious home. Anyway, I left religion about 15, 16 years of age, and left home, traveled the world, end up in New Jersey of all places. So for those of you who really want to get into detail, you need to read the book, Why Me? You get into our newsletter there, you have the website, you have our email, you can order it, we'd love to send it to you. We don't want to give it to you from here, because we can send it to you right from America, so we are limited with what we have here. Okay? Or else, maybe you can really take it, we'll see what happens. Anyway, here I am in New Jersey. I gave up on religion at an early age, 15 years of age, but I never gave up on God. So here I am in New Jersey. I had my shop. I import from Israel, I import from Mexico, and I have my Bible. When I say my Bible, I refer just to the Old Testament in Hebrew on my desk, and lo and behold, this man walked into my shop named Jeff. He see my Bible in Hebrew, and he get really excited, and he began to really witness to me and begin to really share the gospel with me. And of course, as a Jew, whoa, wait a minute, that's not for us. All we Jews think of Jesus is a man who came to betray his people Israel, started a new religion, and this new religion been killing us throughout history, and you cannot argue with history. The church was a real instrument in the hand of Satan himself to kill Jews left and right throughout history, and every Jew will learn this in school as children. So in the mind of the Jews, all Christians are in one bucket. Israel does not know the distinction between true followers of the Lord, which there are few in numbers, and the Catholics and the Lutherans and all the others who are just by name Christians. And so you study, you grow up in school, and you learn that the Christians are actually very much an enemy of Israel, and you cannot argue with history, because we're not going to have a history lesson here. The Crusaders, the Inquisitions, the pogroms, and this every child grew up in school learning all that. So the first reaction when you hear Jesus is that what you have learned, and you are very much caught up with all the salt, with all the gravel and the sand that have been poured into your heart, be it by the so-called church or be it by the religious Jewish establishment. From both sides, the Israelis have such a misconception and misunderstanding of Yeshua. And that was, of course, my natural reaction to this man named Jeff. But this guy was so acquainted with the Bible, the Old Testament, and he began to visit me every week, once, twice, right before I closed the shop, and he began to open the prophecies. So much so, after 6 months, I find myself with my back up against the wall. I had a choice to make. It's either I'm going to really believe my father, my mother, the rabbis I grew up with, the teachers in school, or am I going to believe the prophets? Moses, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Daniel, Ezekiel, who given us precisely the identification of the Messiah in such a clear, beautiful way. And when I saw so many clear prophecies concerning Yeshua, I couldn't help it but to find the courage to start reading the New Testament. a book I was scared to touch, a book many Jews will not want to really read. But after this man faithfully, with 6 months period, fasting for me, praying for me, suddenly I found the courage, the wisdom to read the New Testament. I was shocked because I thought I'm going to read some kind of an anti-Semitic book. But everything I read, and it's all in New Jersey, by the way, everything I read bring me back to Galilee where I grew up. Everything I read bring me to the synagogue. Love, holiness, grace, mercy. It's all about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I have not read anything about the eggs of Easter, nothing about the trees of Christmas. Seriously, I haven't really heard the sound of the bells in the church, but the sound of the shofar. Everything I read was so very Jewish that I began to ask myself, and the words of the Lord really grabbed a hold and took a hold of my heart. So I asked myself, wait a minute, how did the Christians, the church, have managed to really have us think the way in which we think about Him? And how the rabbinical Jews begin to, made us think like that. So this was really a great revelation for me, because the word of Yeshua, everything there, very, very Jewish. My people there, my God is there. It's a history of my people, and a natural continuation of God's promises to Israel. And by the way, there is no kingdom coming to this earth apart from Israel. And I take it one step further, there is no gospel apart from Israel. God made up His mind to have this nation a channel to bring all the blessing to this earth. To make a long story short, I've come to a point of really what we call being born again. This was 1977. After reading the New Testament and realizing that my identity is not going to be jeopardized, because it's all about my people, because the one thing the Jews don't want to do is to give up on their identity. I mean, this is a promise that was given to Israel, okay? So, and it's heartbreaking when Christians come here, have no clue about these people, don't know how to relate the gospel to the Jews, and they come here with oftentimes tracts and a picture of Jesus, and all they want to do is make out of the Jews Christians, and that will not work, right? You really need to know how to relate the gospel to these people in such a way that they understand you're not bringing them no other gods, no three gods, and no Trinity, and all these stories that people really so scared of. Okay? And to really know how to relate the gospel to them is of great, great importance. So, I came back here in 1981 after being in the States. From 74 I left Israel. I left Israel 74, met the Lord in 77, came back 81, 82, and when I came here, there was only very few congregations here, no more than 10, 15 congregations, and only a few hundred believers. Everybody knew everybody, and the church, to my sorrow, was paralyzed with fear when it comes to evangelism, and I boasted the Lord and Him alone. God literally just basically used me to just break the ice and just begin to go out in the streets. He blessed me with a house in Jacob, just 3 minutes walk from where Peter had the vision, and this house have become really essential and encouraging, challenging, and being a blessing to the body of the Lord in this country and the area of open air evangelism, gathering people, making campaign, taking the people to the streets, until there was a great change in this whole mission about 11 years ago. 1996, however many years that is. I'm receiving a telephone call from a German pastor out of the blue, and so I'm coming to the end, unless you want to hear all more details. Out of the blue, I'm receiving a telephone call from a German pastor, and this guy telling me, look, we keep hearing about the work of evangelism which you are leading in Israel. We have here a growing church in Hamburg.